Hello and welcome to Things That Fall Out of My Head. Today we're going to be having a look at the pouches for my Mandalorian costume. Now these pouches are going to be used both on the flak vest itself, and I've also got a couple more that are going to be put onto a belt. So regardless of where they're going on the costume, they're going to be treated the same way, they're going to have the same things done to them, so I just thought I'd grab a couple of them and show you how I processed them. So all of these pouches were purchased from epicmilitaria.co.uk, a military surplus shop over here in the UK. I bought these and a few others at the same time, just really wanted to give myself a couple of options for what I'd include on the costume. These particular ones turned out to be the best out of the bunch that I bought. I can't remember whether they're French or another European country's surplus. I liked the colour of these and they looked to be in quite good condition. I believe these are also relatively modern pouches for a military surplus. I don't know whether they're still current use, but when they arrived they were very clean. There was just a couple of little marks on them, but they were stored flat. They didn't really show any signs of being used, so I was very happy with this. Unfortunately, a couple of the other pouches I bought weren't in quite as good condition. They were more the traditional Second World War leather pouches that you'd expect. They were a lot darker brown, but I think from years of storage some of them were mouldy. There were some cobwebs in there, and I didn't really think that I was going to be able to clean them up and make use of them, so unfortunately those ones got binned. And that's nothing against the service I received from Epic Militaria. Everything was really well packaged, it arrived really quickly, and to be honest, the pouches themselves were only a couple of pounds each, so I didn't mind taking a chance on them and having them not work. So as I've just shown to the camera, what we're going to be using to transform these pouches is just everyday shoe polish. I bought a couple of different colours just to see what kind of effect they gave me, because the finished colour is going to have aspects of both the original colour of the leather item plus the colour of the polish that you put over the top. So here I have to bear in mind that my base pouches are quite yellow, so anything I put over the top of that is going to have a bit of a yellow hue to it. It's not going to come out the same colour as the polish that I'm putting on there. And something to note with this particular way of dyeing leather or, modifying the colour of leather is it's not going to work on all types of leather. I mean, if your leather item has a particularly strong weatherproofing finish to it, or if it's been treated on the surface in some way, it's going to make it more resistant to having its colour changed. It's going to resist the polish dyeing the leather, because that's effectively what we're doing, is putting a layer of dye onto a natural product like leather. That's why I'm wearing the glove on my right hand, because, well, my skin is effectively leather. So if I'm exposed to polish for a long time, it's going to stain my fingers. Now, I'm by no means an expert on treating leather or anything like that. I've worked with leather in the past, and I first used this technique on some undyed vegetable tanned leather, which naturally would take the colour from polish very, very well, because there is no surface treatment to it, it has no colour, so it will quite happily take the dyes from the polish and give you a nice vibrant finish. With the little that I do know about leather and how to treat it, I could see there was a very glossy finish to these pieces, so I was expecting it to put up some kind of resistance to me trying to dye it with polish. So I just started off with the darker brown that I had here to see how I got on. So as you can see, it seems to be taking the polish quite well. It wasn't quite as well coating as I was hoping it was going to be. Although saying that, you can see on the edges around the strap there and the edges around the pouch itself, it takes the dye very, very well there, because those are untreated edges, they're just raw. So they're going to drink in whatever pigment you put on there, whether it be a polish like this or a proper leather dye. On that note, if there's a particular finish you have in mind, or you want a really consistent colour across several different pieces, I would recommend looking into leather dyes for yourself. Didn't do it for these pouches because they were just something that I wanted to try out. They were only a few pounds each, and I had the polish at home anyway, so I thought, well, let's give it a try. If it works, fantastic. If it doesn't, I've got spares, and if I need to replace them all, it's only going to cost me a few pounds. I didn't really want to get into stripping the leather back, investing in dyes and then having to do all of that when this could well have worked perfectly as it was. So as you can see, there's nothing terribly technical about this technique. It's effectively just like polishing your shoes. You put the polish on and then buff it off. I've got a shoe brush in an old sock there just to soften the bristles off, and once I put a layer of polish on, it was just a case of buff it down to see what kind of colour I was left with. Now you can see there's some inconsistency in how the polish has taken to the surface of the leather, and also originally I wasn't going to polish the sides and the bottom of it. I was going to leave those the original colour just for a little bit of variation. But after I started putting the second layer of polish on there, I thought, it looks a little bit odd. I'll probably fill those in as well. As you can see, from putting a dark brown polish over a yellow base, I'm actually getting quite an orangey colour to this one. That's not so much of a problem for me. You know, I knew that there was going to be some kind of effect on the finished colour because of the quite bright yellow that these started off as. At the end of the day, anything that adds a little bit more variance to the colours that you've used on your costume, I think that's only a good thing. You know, if I had two of these pouches next to each other and they were slightly different colours, then the more the merrier. You know, it's going to add to that more real-world look. It was after seeing this slightly orange finish I was getting to this that I thought, maybe I'll leave the other pouch that I'm going to use on the vest as the natural yellow that it arrived in. I remembered seeing an old pre-production photograph of Boba Fett, and the pouches that he wears at his belt, instead of being grey, the canvassy ones I mean, one was kind of an orangey brown and the other was a tan yellow. So I thought, oh, what a nice coincidence that I can make this a little homage to that maybe. So just as we're finishing up on this first pouch, I showed you the other one at the beginning, the slightly larger pouch. I ended up leaving it the same colour it arrived, but I did colour the edges, the raw edges, with this same polish to give them a darker look. It just kind of helps define the shape of it and make it look a little bit more standout. So once everything was polished and buffed, it was time to get them onto the vest. As luck would have it, the connecting straps at the side of the vest were just about the right size to go through the attachment loops on the back of the pouches. I thought this would be the case with military pouches. They tend to have quite large loops, so I hoped these would fit well, but I was really pleased with this larger pouch because I had somehow managed to space my two straps so that it would go through the two belt loops on the back of this, and they lined up pretty well. So, nice quick little video for you today. I've got a couple more of these pouches to finish up to put on the belt that I'll be wearing with this, but I'll cover all of that in the next video when I look at the belt itself and what else is going to go on there. So thanks for watching everyone, subscribe for more. We've got this project and a couple more coming up soon, so stay tuned for those. Once again, thanks everyone, and hope you're having a good one.